Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm going to film about 3 or 4 videos today that I've promised you guys, so they're going to be back to back. First up I'm going to film the tank update, what I've changed on this, what I'm doing so far. So let me swing the camera around and we'll go through the Frag Tank as well as the 120 gallon tank. Alright, so as I swing around over here, you can see the Frag Tank is looking pretty empty. In about a week I'm going to have this tank completely shut down after I sell the last remaining frags out of it. And I'm shutting this down because I really have everything already over in this tank, in my 120 gallon main tank. And I was also using that Frag Tank as a quarantine system. So here we go, 120 gallon. Not sure how much different it is. Probably quite a bit more corals in here than when I filmed my last update. In regards to equipment, I think the only thing that I've really changed is I put an ATO container down here and I'm using the BRS 50 mil per minute dosing pump that is actually dosing to this tank. I also took one of the sensors off of the tank that was sitting up here for a leak detection, and I have tapped that into back here. In case this does dose too much, that will cut the pump off and not let it top off anymore. In the ATO, I'm also dosing my nitrate and my phosphate, so that is all getting added at one time. Still have these same 4 Viper Spectra LED lights, my T5 hybrid fixture up there. I have added screens to either side of here because I did not do a livestock update yet, but that's one of the videos that I'm going to be doing. I do have a yellow chorus wrasse down here, so that'll be the next video I film here shortly, right after this one. On this side, nothing really any different. Yes, I need to do a bunch of cord management over here, but still have the Core 20 here, flow sensor, the Camor peristaltic pump that's running through the calcium reactor. That's a Geo 612x2 calcium reactor. And I do have a CG pump circulating through that. Still have the container over here that the canister filter is flowing through to keep my nitrates down low. They're actually really low. I might actually dial the flow back a little bit on that pump to keep my nitrates up a little bit higher so I don't have to dose as much. Over here in the corner, I still have my CO2 cylinder with my 2-stage regulator. I think that's really it for equipment on here. You can see I have made this a lot simpler than it even was with all the nitrate reducing capabilities that I had on this side in those canisters. Those are all gone. Have my 2 MP40s on each side yet. There's a NEM box up here that is housing some of my Black Widows. I do have a pump up here. Occasionally I turn that on to stir up a little bit of this residue that's floating on the top of the tank that gets circulating in. Without having a top overflow, you do get a little bit of this junk that just floats on top, and that gets it incorporated in the water, which will then be sucked out. Still have my temp probe and my pH probe, and I have my intake and my output for my calcium reactor, and also a, I believe, 300 watt Aheen Jaeger heater down there. That is it for equipment on this tank. It's really simple, even simpler than when I started it. So yes, this is a 120 gallon ultra low maintenance tank, and I really don't think it could be any simpler than this. Of course, you can take the ATO out. You don't need to dose with the calcium reactor. You could dose this manually with Calc or BRS 2 part. But let me swing around and I'll show you guys how things are looking on my Apex Fusion. Alright, so here's a quick look at my Apex Fusion. My temperature has been holding pretty steady at 78. Throughout the day it sometimes gets down a little bit lower, like down to 77. That's perfectly fine yet. I do have a few sensors off and lights off for filming purposes right now. Frag Tank is going to be going away, but that's holding steady at 78. My pH for my Frag Tank's around 8.1. That's just being maintained with some calc. And you can see my pH in my 120 gallon tank. It actually got pretty low today, about 7.69, it looks like, 6.8. That is probably the lowest that I've ever seen it. That can be caused from not enough surface agitation, so that might mean that I have to pull the sponges off of the MP40s and give those a clean so we get a little bit more surface agitation and that CO2 can dissipate out at the top of the water. Vortex are running strong. My pH and my calcium reactor is staying pretty steady. I'm keeping it about 7.04 and I haven't had to budge that too much. Of course, if it gets too low, it'll cut power to that solenoid and it will shoot back up till it gets to a certain point, and then it comes back down to about 7.04. My flow in my canister filters is from the Core 20. Is about 148, 150. I had slowed it down a little bit since the last video to try to keep a little bit of those nitrates and phosphates up a little bit higher so they don't get pulled out as much. But yeah, I think that's it for an update video. I'm going to be changing a lot of things about this tank. I'm going to be taking out a bunch of corals and changing the path going forward that I was originally taking with this tank. So I'll actually include those in the update videos on my livestock, as well as what corals I have in this tank and the path forward. Those are the other videos that I'm going to be filming today. So stay tuned for those. Until then, I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below.